Hey,
Hello.
it's the Ashley and Gus show.
Or the Gus and Ashley show, depending on how you choose to look at it. It's the dry Pennsylvania weather here, guys.
It's
Forgive
six
my
twenty.
hair. Apparently, Alexa goes off at 6:20. Stop, Alexa. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
She's
Anywho,
like an unruly dog.
she likes to tell us what the weather is. One
Yeah.
day she said, "Do you want to know what the weather is?" And I said, "No." And then at 6:20 every day we get a weather report.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that comes from. But
I
anyway,
just thought you should know. That's not why we're here. That's not what we're here to talk about today.
we're not here to talk about Alexa and the weather.
Or the weather.
Anyway,
Yeah, what are we doing?
we're here to talk about
One of my favorite topics.
everybody's. 75% of the people have this. It's a fear.
Curly hair. Oh,
It's a
sorry.
fear of 75% of the people have.
Okay.
It's the fear of public speaking.
Don't you think it's more than 75%? Do you really think
It's a
that
big
a quarter
number.
of us are running out there like, yeah, I don't have any problem speaking in public, no problem? I think it's more. I think it's higher. I think it's higher than 75%.
You think it's higher than 75%?
I do.
All right, I'm
truly
just
do.
saying these are what the survey results say. But anyway,
All right, well, survey.
have you ever had a fear of public speaking?
Heck yes.
Really?
Absolutely. Terrified. Oh my God.
Do you remember the first time you had to speak in public?
Yes.
Where was that? Like as a kid or as an adult or what?
Yeah, I mean, my mom always put me on the spot and I'd freak out and be terrified and I don't know, I just didn't like it. But we actually had a class in junior high, so now I'm totally dating myself.
But wait,
But we had to get up and talk in front of people and we had to recite poetry and stuff. But I mean, looking back now, it was a phenomenal experience. I'm so glad we did
Going
it
back
at
to
the
doing
time.
grade school? Did you like on
Yeah.
stage and stuff in grade
Yeah,
school?
well,
you were
not
nervous?
stage, but it was like in front of the class, and it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, nobody wanted to do it because it was just like, oh my God, this is just traumatic.
I sang in the choir.
Well, there you
in
go.
at like 8 years old, and I was in a couple school plays.
That helps.
It helps.
But were you nervous a little bit, or is it more like were you just like, this is what I'm supposed to do? So duh, of course it's on a stage, and duh, of course it's in front of people. Like.
Yeah, I wasn't nervous.
Yeah, all right.
There have been times.
There's
There
a
have
different
been
percentage
times
for you, man.
There have been there have been times though. But here's one of the things I did when I was as a kid.
Yeah.
And Ashley knows this. I always rose my hand to go first. When I looked for volunteers, I was like, "Yeah, me first." I could not handle
the waiting
of a teacher maybe calling on you. Like, you're next, Gus. You're up. You're the one.
So we had our poetry English teacher, whatever she was, and yeah, it was traumatic. But she had a kind of a thing where she said, if you volunteer to go first, you have the option to go last. Like you can
everybody can.
You can go again
common.
at the end after everybody else
Yeah.
has taken their turn. If you feel like you've got more confidence and you want to go for it again, you can. But I'm going to grade you on the second one if you choose to go or whatever. But yeah.
So we go.
This is what's coming up.
We do a lot of public speaking, as you can imagine.
We do now,
and
yes.
even doing what we're doing here and speaking to you tonight. We're out there. Thank you, everybody.
Hi guys.
Peggy, Sassy, Jackie, BBL. Thank you for joining us here.
Yes.
It's we love doing this. We love talking.
We do.
Spreading our. We don't have a stage.
Spreading our joy.
We have a stage in our own house right now. So
we do. It's right here. But no, I see 75% and of the population is afraid of public speaking, and personally, I really think it's higher than that. But regardless,
it's not just public. We have a performing too.
Well, sure. I mean, I don't know.
In sports, I mean, I played golf in high school and high school and college, and yet everybody's waiting there on the course, like watching you. It's a very singular sport.
Does it
but
feel weird?
It does,
I don't know.
Especially because we had a really good team, and the cameras were always like the TV cameras were always out there.
You. So
always like,
yeah, no cameras were out at 4:00 in the morning when I was on the crew team.
No,
rowing, and frankly, even if they were, I don't think to me, when you're doing sports, you're so busy focusing on what you're trying to do, and the same with performances. I mean, I started playing. I played the violin actually in grade school. So I was on stage earlier, but I wasn't speaking. I was playing the violin.
You're performing, yeah.
It didn't. I mean, it freaked me out a little bit, but not as much as speaking.
Most freaked out I ever was.
Yeah.
I raced a car it was an exhibition,
Hey, Lisa.
and I had to run the car down the track. It wasn't really a race. I had to run the car down a drag strip.
But that's not speaking.
But there were 75,000
No,
people
I know.
there.
That's I would be
And
like,
I could hear the
I
crowd.
better not mess this
I could
up.
hear the crowd over the engine in the car.
Hey, Richard.
And my helmet. I was
We
just like,
got
okay,
it.
this is freaky. But then there was another time, I never told you, this was a crazy
Oh, no.
situation.
Yeah,
I was thrown
don't
in.
tell me you haven't told me this because we've been together for a long time.
I was like 20.
There's no way.
I was like 22 or 23 years old. And the company I was working for had sponsored this breakfast event.
Okay.
So I had to like give them a check when I got there. And then I had to present about our company in front of the crowd. There were 600 people there.
Oh, hey.
I had no idea. I was like,
would you think there would be like 60?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'll speak up.
But today, it's like,
use the mic.
But today it's really funny.
What?
We know some professional performers, and I spoke in front. The largest crowd I ever spoke in front of was 20,000 people, and
that's a lot.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like at that level, it doesn't seem like a lot of people.
I totally
when you cannot count them. When you cannot count them.
Sometimes when there's a level of intimacy, it feels like the stakes are higher, and that's weirder. But I think, part of what we are talking about here is exactly what you just you gave the example of. We've done it. We've now both done it so many times. It just doesn't faze us anymore. It's just like, I'm not even asking how many people are here. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm here to present. I'm here to present an idea, or I'm here to present about my company, or I'm here to present like that. I'm communicating what it is so important to me that I don't get fazed by the fear of it anymore. But
did you know? Did you know? There's an actual term for it.
Which Why don't you tell people? Funny. So there's the fear of public speaking is also known as glossophobia.
Glossophobia.
Didn't know that.
We have anti-glossophobia.
Glossophobia. We're not glossophobes.
Yeah, we're not glossophobes. But the reason is it's deep. It's deep rooted.
Yes. Well, it is. It's like evolutionary.
According to my research,
it's not just like you don't learn to be afraid of public speaking.
Yeah. Our ancestors thrived in groups, so social acceptance and avoidance of rejection were crucial for survival. Public speaking contributed to that ancient fear of being judged or ostracized by the tribe. Sort of like the dogs. Dogs run around packs.
Yeah, well, that's it. You need each other, so you want to be liked. Like, that's human as it gets, right? Hey, Sharon. And Brenda and Betty. Hi.
I'm still battling a cough here.
Yeah, but he's getting there. So negative self-talk, I think, is something that, we were talking about somebody who, most of us, I think, and I was asking my son about this, most of us have a voice in our head that's sort of our narrator, right? Or in like, you're not good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or don't step up and say anything, you're going to look silly, but that's actually evolutionary. But the negative self-image, the negative self-talk can fuel our anxiety. So that's one of the things that can hold us back.
Us as human beings, and we've studied some of this, what we fear the most rarely comes true.
Right.
Whatever that fear is,
that's true.
It rarely, we unnecessarily prepare ourselves for the worst, and the worst rarely happens.
But we focus on it because again, it's evolutionary. Like, in order to stay alive at one point, we focused on what's the worst that could happen. Okay, I'm prepared. Right.
Right. You're totally prepared.
You're supposed to be, but now it's not. It's a little different now, so you don't have to do that.
Then public speaking, you're going to perceive feeling of lack of control. Think about a comic who's up there,
control,
and they start heckling. The comics are usually masters at turning it around and throwing it back.
I would be totally thrown if I had then I'm going to talk about this, and here's the hook, and here's and whatever it is, you have it already. You should already have it kind of figured out in your head, laid out, okay, I'm going to do this first, and then.
But you're also seasoned the first time.
Sure.
Here we see we bring in speakers to our events, and they're public speaking in front of dozens, if not a couple hundred people.
Right.
Every first time public speaker that comes onto our stage has the same problem. They do the same. They make the same mistake.
What do they do?
They have too much material.
Oh, always.
Always.
Oh, yeah. No, you're only supposed to be up there for about 45 minutes.
You got 15,
and
maybe 15 slides, 10
girl,
slides.
I'm giving you the hook.
160 slides in. And it's like
that's exactly what I do. So you know what I do because you sit next to me when we're at a conference. I'll get out with the slide deck will be up or something. And then I'm like, wait a minute, how long, I'll look at the time. I'm like, man, we're half an hour in. How long is their deck? They're only on the third slide. And then I'll check. I'm like, oh my God, they've got like 80 slides,
we learned last year, currently.
How do you give that signal?
Currently the ideal length of a speech talk
speaker
is 23 minutes.
Because that's about as much time as we can.
And there's
hold my attention.
They're actually in big conferences today. Yeah, in big conferences, they're actually using AI technology, whether you know it or not. There's usually a little placard that says something.
Cameras.
They have cameras that's monitoring you. Something like
they monitor the audience
every 1/7 of a second,
and they can tell. I mean, they're not looking for your personal information for your face, but they're looking for or somebody who's obviously looking at their phone, so they can actually measure your engagement during your presentation. We don't do this at ours because ours are very engaged. But yes,
past. So come back to one of the fears.
Past negative experiences.
So that probably comes back from your childhood.
Yeah.
Again, that group think. I was bullied as a kid. That's something I actually never talked about here. I was severely bullied as a kid, and there were situations. By the time I was 12 years old, I was able to handle myself, should I say, even though I was a little kid. But I was able, a little in the statue and a young kid, but that bullying, that being forced outside the circle, and it's really, I don't know if it's still, I'm sure it's still good today. It's really prevalent with head games with women, like little girls. More boys are like fighting. Little girls are like screwing with each other's heads.
It's different. There was a line in Seinfeld about how men and women mess with each other, and I think it was like Elaine on Seinfeld who said, "Oh, we just tease each other until we give each other eating disorders." But
the reality is that
it wasn't fun. I mean,
that fear of being in that position again. The interesting thing is the opposite is exactly true. If someone's up there speaking in front of an audience, I
think the audience is usually like, wow, that person's got balls.
100%.
They're up on the stage talking to me, number one, and number two, they've got something interesting to tell me.
We have a good friend.
Okay.
We have a good friend of ours.
Watch.
And we were at an international event, and she was speaking last year, and she was nervous before she went on stage. And I'm like, why are you nervous? And you're like a rock star.
Killing it.
And she killed it. Her presentation was incredible.
And Gus always laughs at me. Like, before the conference starts, I must get quiet because you're like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, I just need...
I'm a little nervous. I'm
well,
like, really?
I get a little nervous. It's not because I have to get up in front of people and speak. It's because I'm carrying so much empathy that I want them to really love this experience. Like it reflects on me. I can't help it. I'm producing something. I want them to enjoy it. Just like if I make dinner for my kids, I want them to enjoy it.
I remember one time we were doing an event, and
was I there?
Yeah, you were there. It was our event. It was a big event.
Okay.
And there was a president of one of the companies, and this person was getting ready to speak, and I was miking this person up, and I didn't want to say she. They said,
too late.
I effing hate speaking in public. And I actually laughed at her a little bit. I'm like, how can you hate? You have to do this every other day. And like, how can you? I hate it every time. I'm like, wow. You have to do it so much.
But that's it. I mean, and I think, but so for the fear of public speaking and for facing that, just know, I mean, it's fixable. It's not permanent. We've got some tips for you because we do it all the time, and we're happy to share what we have learned.
We constantly. I mean, if you didn't know, we're a couple. We own the company together. We own a business together. We're together 24/7, pretty much. We have a really good communication. If one of us messes up or could have done it better,
The other will jump in.
We have we also have a really good way of talking to each other and say, hey, it's not like put it down like, hey, next time, maybe you might try this. And it's always like, oh yeah, totally. Because you've done it. You've known whatever it is.
And I
when you're up there going,
I worked with a company where when you were ready to, or you were going to share something, you'd stand up to share it. And one of the leaders was always joking. She's like, I call it the stupid gas, from like where you're sitting to like where you are when you're standing is the stupid gas. And when you step up into it, you're like, I can't remember what I was going to say, or you start rambling, or you're like, what was that? I'm finally sharing that. Anyway, but facing the fear of public speaking is a common challenge. And there are some steps that you can take to overcome it. Do you want to cough some more?
I'll cough some more. I'll sit here and die.
Don't do that. Don't die.
Focus on preparation.
Yes.
We're very fortunate today that each one of us has one of these devices. You're probably all watching us on this.
We've got all sorts of gizmos that we can have, like either to just remind
even if it's a very.
I actually write stuff down.
Oh, 100%. Even if it's a very. Let's just say you're the committee person. This happens all the time. You're the committee person of this large event. You've put an event together. It's a charity event, and you have to introduce the speaker.
Right.
And
don't wing it.
Write down the notes. This is that. Yeah. And then go up there, and even though it's going to be like 30 seconds to maybe 3 minutes, take your time.
It's okay to read. It's okay to read. People will understand if you're looking down at your device and reading somebody's bio.
Yeah.
They will understand if you're, holding a piece of paper and reading it. Just don't hold it up right up to your face.
If you watch any news organization, anybody talking on TV, doing a live event, they have what they call a teleprompter.
Yes.
And it's basically, it might look something like this, where we're getting our notes from. And usually the camera's in the middle of it. Yeah. So they're looking at the teleprompter and they're reading off the screen.
Oh, they remember this so well. No, they're reading off the teleprompter.
I even know there's bands out there, live bands that are playing.
That have their lyrics.
The lyrics are running in the monitors. They have a music monitor and they have a lyric monitor.
Every time when we went to see Billy Joel and Elton John, they had sort of the scrolling iPad of the lyrics of everybody's songs, like whichever they were. I mean, they know a lot of songs, right? You're not going to remember every single lyric. So they have it there. I mean, would you call that a confidence monitor? Maybe.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, make sure you're prepared. Have it, just practice it, time it, figure out how long it's going to take. Just get comfortable with what you're talking about, and you'll find you'll be able to do more.
I would say, don't wing it unless it's yours. And what I mean by that is, and if it's yours, you've spoke before.
Right.
By the time you get up there,
but I would also say too, like be aware of your audience. Make sure that what you're talking about is interesting and relevant to them. Because if you start spinning a story, or you start telling them about experiences that you've had that have kind of nothing to do with them, they will sit there in their mind. And they're like, why are we here? Why is she talking about this? So just focus a little bit on your audience if you have the moment to prepare, and just think of like 3 things that you want to convey. But so there's that.
I like this. Challenge negative thoughts. Okay. Remind yourself that most mistakes are minor, and the audience is usually there to learn, not judge. That's 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they don't even know you made the mistake.
You probably have a loving crowd in front of you. Embrace that.
They're hearing it for the first time.
They're there to learn. They're not there to say, "Oh wow, her shirt looks funny." Not that I'm saying anything about your shirt.
My shirt looks funny.
No, I wasn't talking to you.
This last time
I was talking about me.
Oh.
And that hair. Good Lord, girl. I need some serious.
You can also, right before you go live or before you get on the stage, practice some relaxation techniques. I've been following Metallica, the band, and James Hetfield.
Is there another Metallica? Sorry.
I don't know. But in case people don't know who Metallica are. James Hetfield.
What does James do? Does he do breathing exercises?
He sits down with a bourbon, a cigar, and he has his, and behind the stage, and he said, "This is my new relaxation. I take deep breaths.
Nice.
I
like
just sit there, and he's sitting right behind
bourbon.
Yeah, and he's just sitting there like relaxing and doing. Hey, if it requires, the first time to have a little sip of alcohol, I'm not saying this is common practice, but it can help just a teeny bit.
That little edge. Yeah.
Practice deep breathing. That's another thing you can do. Breathe in, breathe
Very
out,
intentional
breathe in,
breathing.
breathe
Very,
out. You can do what the Marines do, the box breathing, 4 seconds in, hold for 4 seconds, 4 seconds out, hold for 4 seconds, and focus that technique.
I like that.
Yeah.
And really what that's doing, other than helping you get good oxygen to your lungs and your brain, it's also helping you focus. So you're focusing on your breath. It's a very intentional practice that's going on there. So did you just scroll past stuff that I'm supposed to talk about? Thanks.
I don't know.
So
no, we're in practice relaxation.
Well, and actually, as I was saying, the breathing, it does something other than the breathing. It's also shifting your focus. So instead of obsessing about yourself, you're going to focus on what you can offer the audience. Hey, somebody in that audience needs to hear what you have to say.
And they're all counting on you.
Read that again. I mean, it's somebody needs to hear what you have to say. And when you realize that,
your voice matters.
It's so much less about like how I look, how I will come across, how people will accept or like me. And it becomes about the message. So if there's one thing you pick up in today's discussion, that's one of my favorites. And then, start small. If you're new to your topic, gradually ease into it. If you don't know that much about what you're talking about, don't talk about it that much.
I would say this,
keep it short.
I had two instances this year where I spoke about something I knew nothing about. And
you did really well. I would have never known unless you told me in advance. But I was just like, uh-oh.
I was basically thrown in the spotlight of, hey, you're going to talk about this. I'm like,
okay.
Okay. Yeah. So if you need me to talk for you, let me know. I'm available for hire.
Gus and I are excellent MCs at.
We gave multiple presentations last year. Cold, meaning we never reviewed the material.
It's not something I'd recommend, but we knew the material. So anyway, there was that. Hi, Darlene. Hi, Jackie.
Connect with your audience.
Yes.
Actually,
I just did. Hi, Darlene. Hi, Jackie. I didn't because I was looking there and not here. But yes.
Oh, expect the unexpected. Okay.
Okay, wait. Do you want to talk more about connecting with your... make eye contact, smile, vary your tone and pace to keep them engaged. And this will also take the focus that you have on yourself off yourself. So.
Expect the unexpected. Crazy story. Ashley and I were at an event. It was our event. It was not our space. We had nothing to do with the space other than we were there. Yeah, other than I actually remember.
I'm like, where is he going with this? I'm like, I know exactly what he's going to do. Go ahead.
This woman was speaking at the event, extremely poised, very great presenter.
She was awesome. She was reading her presentation though, and at a podium. But she was killing it. Like she was great.
Big auditorium, amazing. Big stage, big screen. The screen falls out of the ceiling,
unravels off its thing.
We're talking like
massive,
a 200, 300 pound piece of aluminum falling 40 feet from the ceiling, crashing down onto the stage. She paused for a second and then went right back to her presentation. I was just like, No joke. If someone was under that screen, they would have been dead.
Gus and I were sort of in the, did that just happen? And then we were like, thank God nobody was underneath the screen. And then we were just like, okay. And she just went on ahead. She didn't. Like, great. There wasn't even a pause in the
total
music.
Total composure. I'm like, wow.
Like, okay. Yeah. No, she wins something for that.
Yeah. So anyway, what's next?
What's next?
Focus on your message. Remember, you're there to bring a message. Our message to you is
on the message.
Right now. The message right now is don't be afraid of public speaking.
Yeah,
it's your friend.
Get out
there and speak in public.
It's good for you. People ask us, they're like, "Wow, you go live so often," and I'm like, I hated it at first because I was a little nervous, and then I just said, you know what, you're going to get used to it.
It makes things look good.
Well, no, I mean, and my hair, but it's not where I would like it to be, but. I'm hoping that that my message is more important than what my hair looks like. So if you really want to, this can help. We have a couple of tips for you. The first one is record yourself practicing. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I already said that. Record yourself practicing.
Record yourself
It's a big thing. I don't
practicing.
think I've done that.
I haven't
I
done
haven't
it in
done it in
a
a long
really
time.
long time. Seek feedback as a trusted friends or colleagues. Ask them if they can just like, hey, how was that? And ask the people who are really going to tell you, like, dude, I would not have talked about that, or I mean, or Ashley, your hair. So, I
I mean,
mean,
sometimes
ask somebody who's really going to tell you what they think, and then they're not going to be like, oh no, you were great, you were great.
we don't have a lot. You don't see a lot of bad, even average presenters, bad presenters. We see more. We see more faux pas on Zoom than we do in live or in person.
I think people get almost so comfortable in front of a Zoom camera now that we're not really paying attention to what we're doing.
Yeah, their lighting's bad, or they're using some
Or their
green
angle is
screen,
bad,
and
or
it's like
they've got like.
it's
I'm
not-
still amazed by like we're this far past all of that, and I still get somebody with a camera like right up under so I'm like, oh yeah, your nose hair looks great. Like, what is this? Can you but so we even do I tried to do when we had we did virtual conferences, and I'd say, hey, let's do a tech check beforehand just to make sure everything looks right. And I'd say, hey, are you planning to sit where you're sitting right now when you deliver? Oh yeah, okay. Make sure the shade is down so the sun's not blaring in. Make sure you have good,
good
light
light
coming at you. And then, next thing you know, we'd go live, and they were in a different space in their office.
I'd love to show you this
like
space.
Total backlit, and you're just like,
we're actually at my desk right now.
This
we
is
do have a
Gus's
studio,
desk.
but we have
He's
lights.
got the cool.
We have studio lights
We do.
set up. We have multiple
He's got the
cameras
cool
set up.
guitars.
Look at the cameras. I should look more professional with this considering all the equipment we have here. But anyway,
Sure.
yeah, I mean, we're on camera a lot, so we do make sure we're right with it.
And then the best part,
we say seek feedback.
We did talk about seeking feedback.
Ask your trusted friends and your colleagues, what would you change? What would you do different?
Besides my hair.
Yeah.
But then celebrate your successes. Going live, especially the first time, or getting on stage or speaking, it can be a little daunting. The fact that you did it. Exactly. Like, girl, dude.
We got a friend of ours right now.
Champagne.
We got a friend of ours.
Let's get some bubbly.
We got a friend of ours right now that is a little skittish to go to live, and I'm trying to figure if she wasn't 1,100 miles away, I'd go down there and drag her butt into a studio
pull her
with us.
right in. But yeah, I mean, just like it's that. Oh, I did it. It was fine. It was great. It was actually kind of fun. Like, the Earth didn't come crashing
Except
into
for that
the
one
sun,
time.
and
No,
stop
I'm
it. And that's just it. I remembered something from one of the conferences that I ran. I was wicked hungover. This is years ago. And I didn't feel well. And I kept talking about how I didn't feel well. And finally, one of my speakers was like, Ashley, like just stop. I'm like, okay, sorry.
Stop talking about feeling well.
Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, when you're really, really sick, and then you're not. And they're like, okay, just, we're good. You don't have to tell us now. We see you're not 100%.
That's funny.
Stop talking about it was awful. I can't believe I remembered that. Anyway,
I was trying to think what's my most negative.
I was gonna say, like, you had to have had a moment where you were just like, man, I had my foot in my mouth the whole time, or I couldn't focus on what I was talking about, or I was like, I mean, was there ever?
I knew one time we were honored, and I didn't realize we were being honored.
Yeah, I didn't either,
and I teared up. Like, it was but I had no idea that the event was for.
That was for you.
It was for me, and I had no idea. And it was a pretty big. There was
a big deal.
There were celebrities in the room, and we had raised a lot of money for it.
Figures.
There were sports celebrities.
We
had raised a lot of money for charity.
I didn't fully pick up on it myself.
And they didn't tell us that we were. That's why we were there, and it was pretty. It felt good.
Yeah. You made a difference in people's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always a good thing.
It's the best thing. It is the best thing, right?
I was.
What?
I wasn't on stage, but I was in a contest.
Yeah.
I told you a story.
Okay. Are you going to keep telling it, or
I was in a pie eating? I was in a pie because I didn't know if I should tell her or not. I was in a pie eating contest.
Yeah. Yeah, you tell this. No, it's all right.
All right.
Better than some of the other.
I don't really like. I think we talked about this yesterday. I'm not a huge
He's
sweets
not a
guy,
big sweets guy.
but I got forced to get into this.
So tell us what it was.
It was basically whipped cream,
Just whipped cream.
and whoever can eat it the fastest won like
so
tickets
there
to
wasn't
something
like a pumpkin pie. There was no base. There was nothing. It was just whipped cream
in a pie.
in a
dish,
pie.
yeah.
Okay.
So there's 5 of us up on stage, and I
Okay.
was forced by my friends to go up there, and I'm
Forced.
Forced. It usually just takes me another beer or a martini and
Okay.
go up there.
All right. So what happened?
So when it started, and everybody put their hands behind their back and
Okay.
eat the whipped cream as fast as you can.
Okay.
And they sat us like guy, girl, whatever. And as the contest started, I didn't know these 2 women sitting on either side of me. As it started, they went down to start eating the pie, and I just pushed their heads into it. I just the crowd went wild.
And all I can say is he hasn't been invited to one since.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't win the pie eating
No,
contest.
that's all right.
I won the popularity
You won
contest.
something else, but you didn't win the pie eating contest. Nice. Oh my god. Yeah, I would have. Never mind. Good thing I didn't.
Oh, I wore some pie. Believe me,
Oh, I
they
would've
were
been like,
throwing,
mother
they were throwing
effer.
whipped cream
Yeah.
and stuff.
Okay.
But
Cool.
it was worth the story. Here we are a couple years later, still talking about it.
Couple years. How long has it been? I don't even know.
I don't know. It was
Anyway.
The place was called Market Street Live. If anybody knows that place.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
That was a long time ago. Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys,
thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much.
Fun.
We hope that our tips have been helpful for you. We hope that you remember them next time. And honestly, if there are that many people who are afraid to get on stage or that many people who are afraid to speak in public, if you can be one of the few that gets past that fear and starts to do it, your future, man, that's just another thing to add to like what's so great about you. So embrace it. Make it happen.
Thank you for joining